Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the audit meeting for October 27, 2020. And clerk has already taken attendance, I believe. Awesome. So we'll go through the bills. I don't have any that I have questions on, but we do have some housekeeping we have to address. You have some transfers for me. Do we have all signatures, or are we still working on it?
They're all done.
Excellent. Kudos to the board. So the first resolution I'll need is to transfer $1,000 to account A2089-8, which is recreation donations. And where do you want those to go into?
So this is we're going to be increasing the revenues. You received a donation and also increase the expenditures to go along with that for the purchase of the disc golf equipment that was discussed during the budget workshop meetings.
So do you want to do both the transfers to that account all in one? Is that what you're looking to do?
Right. So this increases the revenues to this account and the expenditures to that account.
So following with that theme, resolution would also include transferring that $1,000 to account A7140.2, which is the playgrounds and recreation equipment account. And this is to recognize a donation from the Stewart Shops, the Town Rural Recreation Department. And this will be used for the purchase of disc golf equipment. So, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the next resolution would be to increase appropriations by $11,000 to account TS 8160.4, which is the transfer station contractual expenses. And this increase in appropriations is for operating fees at the transfer station. And this increase also includes transportation of waste from the facility. So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then that's it for transfers, right? Yeah. And then the final item I have for the audit meeting, we had an emergency repair that had to be conducted on truck number 4 at the highway department. If you recall, this is the 2010 International 4300, which was towed after it broke down on the public highway back in September 28th. And required EGR and computer system repairs that were estimated to be $5,012.87 less a possible core charge, refund of $330. The board verbally approved that work to occur, but we need to memorialize it for the record. And there's currently a balance in the equipment account, which is DB 5130.405 of $16,800. So I'd entertain a motion to move that. So
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so we've taken care of the housekeeping. We've got all the signatures. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills as audited. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And need a motion to close the audit meeting? Very good.
So moved.
All right. Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, so we shall return at 7 p.m. this evening for the regular town board meeting. That's 40 minutes. Okay, we'll get started this evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 27, 2020 regular Monroe Town Board meeting, and ask the clerk for a roll call.
Councilmember Hogan.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Kuzniers.
Here. And if everyone would please rise for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We'll start with approval of minutes. We have the minutes for September 29th, which was the audit meeting for September. We also have the regular town board meeting from that same day. We have October 6th budget workshop, and finally we have October 13th, which was a regular town board meeting. We can take them all together or separately, but at this time, does anybody have any corrections or comments on them? No. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt them all at the same time.
So.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 2 on the agenda is to set future meetings and workshops, and as everyone knows, statutorily, we have to schedule our public hearing no later than November 5th. And due to the public notifications that are required, it has to take place on that day to have enough time for the notification process. So the only thing I need to know is what works best for everyone. We could do 5:30. We could do later, whatever. You know, I can be here anytime. On the 5th. On November 5th.
What I see.
I may need to join remotely. I'll be in North Carolina.
Okay, that's fine.
It works for me, whatever time it
Anytime is fine. I would say after 5:30 or after.
Okay. 5:30 good? 5:30, John, 5:30?
But now.
All right, we'll, so we need a motion to set that, don't we? Yeah, so I'll entertain a motion to establish the public hearing for 5:30 p.m. on November 5th, 2020.
So.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
For our budget.
That's for the public hearing on the budget, and then we will be required by law to adopt it by November 20th. So we're getting toward the end of that process.
Good.
And we had the roll call, everybody's in favor, correct? Right.
Yes.
And does anybody else need any future meetings or workshops at this time?
Not more.
All right, so briefly, moving on, agenda item number 3, which I have listed as customarily the COVID-19 update as of today. Starting at the New York State level, the governor added California to the New York's COVID-19 travel advisory. He has not removed any areas. He's also indicated that non-essential interstate travel to and from Massachusetts will be discouraged. The positive testing rate in all the focus zone areas where we've seen hot spots in the state currently is 3.65%. The New York State positivity rate outside of all these focused areas is at 1.53%. So the statewide positivity rate currently, as of today, is 1.78%. And yesterday there were 15 COVID deaths in New York State. Here a little closer to home, in Saratoga County, to date there's been 1,317 cases. The death number is at 19. Number of current active cases is 112. Number of total recovered year to date, or to date since the pandemic, is 1,186. The number of currently hospitalized residents in the county stands at 7, and the 7-day rolling average positivity rate for Saratoga County is 1.08%. So here in our community, in the town of Monroe, today we've had 57 confirmed cases. One has resulted in death. There's currently 1 active case, and so 55 have recovered. And then in the village of South Glens Falls, the number of confirmed cases to date is 21. They've had 0 deaths, currently 1 active case, and 20 have recovered. So those are the numbers, as I indicated at this juncture in time. Any questions on that? If not, I just want to make the public aware that I have extended the state of emergency declaration, which I did on October 14th. That'll be for another 30 days. And again, the primary reason for that is there should be federal or state dollars available to assist with anything that we have to do COVID related. The fact that we have an emergency declaration in place will make us eligible for some of that funding. Item 4 on the agenda this evening is elected official salaries. Statutorily, we have to adopt them prior to adoption of the budget. And they are, as we discussed, as we crafted the budget, it's a 2% increase across the board, which is what all our employees receive. So for 2021 budget year, the salaries are as follows. For supervisor, it's $49,271. For each council member, it's $12,607. For each town justice, it's $29,161. The town clerk salary is $47,076. And the highway superintendent is set at $60,837. And if somebody would like to move that, we can open it up for discussion as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All right, hearing none, then all in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously, and those shall be the elected official salaries for the 2021 fiscal year. Next item on the agenda I have listed as the highway department. We have a few items to go through. The first one is, as we were crafting the budget, we had money in this year's budget for 2020 to do some necessary repairs on a town road. It's actually a culvert on Fedor Road in the Ag District. And my recommendation is that we open a purchase order on that so that we don't have to account for it in next year's budget. And in order to do that, we would need a resolution. We do have information from the manufacturer, which is Contact Engineering Solutions, that will be constructing the culvert, and they'll be charging us state contract pricing on that. So I would entertain a motion that specifies that whereas the 2020 adopted budget included funding for the reconstruction of the Fedor Road culvert, contained in account DB 5112.431. So it would be resolved that the town board approve the Fedor Road culvert project in the amount of $334,560 from Contact Engineered Solutions at state contract pricing.
So.
Second.
Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on highway, we have a request from the highway superintendent to open a purchase order for the purchase of rock salt for 2020. This would be from on Saratoga County contract pricing. Contract number is 20-PWS-10R, and the price is $50.92 per ton. The vendor would be Morton Salt, Palatine, Illinois. He's requesting the highway superintendent's requesting a PO be opened in the amount that remains in the 2020 budget, which has a current balance of $46,443.04 as of October 2nd. That's contained in count DB 5142.490. My recommendation is that we do an initial PO of $20,000, just so we can do a good job of tracking the expenditures as we move forward. Certainly, that should be enough money to cover any storms between now and our next town board meeting. So if that number needs to be modified, we can do it then.
Question, and can we do that again before the end of the year?
Yes.
Even if we've got past budget cycle?
Yes. I mean, we can do that right through December 31st, because it draws out of the 2020 budget.
Makes sense.
Yes, I was just thinking, does he have room here to store salt?
My understanding, I think he said he can store volume for up to 3 storms. So to answer your question, no, you can't store all that salt there. However, he calls it as needed. And they'll deliver it. So if somebody would like to make that motion that we open a PO with that vendor an amount for $20,000, that would be great. So,
Second.
any discussion, other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right, next item on the agenda I have listed as the transfer station, item 6. And I just want to make the board aware, I have received Sunday evening an email from one of our residents who had been to the transfer station. He was on Saturday and was charged for a trailer that contained only leaves. And the board recalls, we have never charged any of our residents for leaves, lawn clippings, things like that, because it doesn't cost the town anything to grind them. It just composts down there. However, when the board amended the types of trailers that would be permitted into the transfer station, there was language that was included in that sheet that said essentially that they would be charged for that if it was a trailer. And I don't think that was the board's intent to do that.
Was it a dump trailer?
It was actually, I'll read you this email, which I received on October 24th. I want to reach out to you in regards to the transfer station. The attendant today attempted to charge me a fee for disposal of leaves since I have a dumping utility trailer. My dump trailer is 5 foot by 10 foot and is smaller than allowable size for non-dumping trailers. Please see the attached photos of my trailer. The verbiage on the fee schedule for brush leaves for resin reads as follows. Utility trailers larger than 6 foot by 12 foot, dump trailers, stake body, and dump trucks, $30 per load. Like most residents, I bring a load of leaves weekly or bi-weekly, depending on how much has fallen during the month of October, November. Last year, I brought leaves with my old 6 by 12 foot utility trailer that held 3.5 cubic yards. This year, I purchased a new dump trailer that is smaller and holds 2.25 yards, and I am told I will be charged because it has a dumping mechanism. I feel my homeowner dump trailer should not be charged a fee as if I was a commercial hauler. This is one of the smallest dump trailers on the market you can buy, and it's a single axle. I was told by the attendant I wouldn't be charged anything if I brought the leaves on a trailer that was not dumping. That seemed absurd to me. They could use a little discretion, question mark. I would completely understand paying a fee if I had a tandem commercial dump trailer 6 foot by 12 foot or larger. May I have approval to bring my leaves to the transfer station like every other resident?
Is the document we're looking at a proposed new document or is this?
I believe,
There's a change to it.
yeah, so,
But there was a change, it was changed 2 months ago, and there was the composting leaves and grass clipping was included in with the brush, and apparently should not have that.
So what we're looking at, just for clarity, this is a proposed new version that clarifies the issue, because this is pretty clear.
yeah, so here's what, so back in April 28th of this year, the verbiage was, if you look at the schedule, 2/3 of the way down, said furniture, mattress, and rugs that are soaking wet will be charged double. Then underneath that said composting leaves and grass clippings, no charge for town residents. And somewhere in the changeover to the new schedule sheet, it said most recently, brush composting leaves and grass clippings, fallen limbs from storm damage, a maximum size 4 foot in length, 4 inches in diameter, will be accepted from rural residents only. Passenger vehicles, pickup trucks and small utilities not exceeding 6 foot by 12 foot, no charge. So his trailer was smaller, but it had a dumping mechanism in it, so our staff interpreted the sheet to mean that they would be charged for it.
That's the discussion we had as a board, and I knew this was gonna come up because I knew there's small dump trailers out there. I actually was dropping a bunch of metal off when this guy came through, and I drove out thinking, oh no, that's a really small dump trailer, and he only had leaves in it, he's gonna get hit with a charge, and I was gonna, and here it is, and here we are.
So for clarification, you know, this is basically composting material. It doesn't require the town to expend additional funds to grind it, chip it. It gets put into our compost area, which eventually, you know, has value for our residents. I'm okay that we don't charge for leaves for town residents. You know, obviously, I don't think we should be accepting it from commercial haulers, but if you're a resident, you clean your yard, you know, the village comes down there with big dump trucks because they're taking them from village residents on the street. It's really no different than our residents doing their own yard. That's my opinion.
This document's proposed.
So this document right here is the proposal to clarify, so it's for discussion.
I think the verbiage as it's presented here makes it clear. And I also agree that I don't think our residents should pay for dumping of leaves.
Right, no, I don't think the issue is the leaf part. I think we had quite a discussion on the fact that it was dump trailer here on the board. I think we all agree that leaves are fine. And quite frankly, when I did see that guy's trailer, I realized that's one of the smallest dump trailers I've ever seen. And I knew it was going to come back to us at some point in time, that discussion about dump trailers.
Well, I think our intent was kind of focusing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, fine.
It was on the brush.
Yeah, it was focusing around brush. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The way this reads now is that dump trailers are gonna charge $30 if they bring brush and limbs and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Where if a dump trailer brings in leaves and clippings, there's no charge.
Right.
That's fine. You know,
You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean,
I'm fine with it, they just need to know about transfer station. If you can make it clear to them, I'm fine with it.
This document seems to clarify the confusion.
All right,
So
so,
supported with this document.
so why don't,
That, yeah, I would concur.
so what,
I'm sorry, but and maybe I'm just not understanding this, but the one on your website,
But then it's somebody already.
Okay, the one I do look at,
I
it
did,
says
I went and looked. Look at the revision.
the 26th.
Just like that.
Right,
Yeah, because I was dealing with this, yes, sort of, yeah. I was dealing with-
that's the one that's on your website.
Yeah, but that's the one that's before the board members now, it's probably a little premature, but.
That's where I was just.
Yeah. So if everybody is okay with that, I would recommend that, is there a big end?
Yeah, effective 10/26.
All right, so I recommend that the town board by resolution adopt the transfer station fee schedule as drafted for October 26th, 2020, and I'll give the clerk a copy if you need that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
From Laura.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Well, that would make one of our residents very happy.
I mean, I can, just to finish up here, it makes complete sense to me. I think we're all in agreement at this point.
Discussion time is over.
But I can see how even reading this at times though, we've got things in boldface, no charge, and we got brush in boldface, and we got no charge at all, caps.
If somebody.
I don't know if there's a way to clean that up, but it just seems like.
So the verbiage is okay, I'm okay also with anybody who wants to massage it to be uniform and its presentation.
Yes, I'll do it.
So there's clarity to it, that's on one page.
Yeah, I'll take care of it, because this is too much, there's asterisks, there's everything, what am I?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna go over, I don't know where to look on this thing, so
We're all about simplicity.
I'll have Lisa send you.
Send it, all right. Because I got this time, but I'll do it. Because I want to look good. Thank you.
The other item is, Ted is looking to hire an additional part-time employee for transfer station because we have an individual who has indicated that she would no longer like to work there, but she's been helping us covering lunches and things like that, but now she doesn't want to do that anymore. So I would encourage, board members to take a look at the applications that we have. I just got another one today. I guess Ted has already been working on it. I will be interviewing that individual tomorrow at 2 p.m. If there's any board members that want to meet with him after that, I can see if he can stick around, totally up to you, but we should probably take action at the next board meeting on that, which will be, when is the next board meeting? Second week of November, right?
12th, third, 10th.
All right, so hopefully we can move on. The personnel committee wants to go through that list, or any board member for that matter, you get names to the personnel committee.
I believe this is the only application we have that I've ever seen. So
Oh, okay.
I just got it tonight, I'll look it over.
Perfect, sounds good. Item number 8. Make sure I got everything here.
I have some recreation.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. I was so eager to jump into the sales tax conversation, I jumped over recreation. Item 7 is Recreation Department. First of all, I have some good news to report. I had applied for, on behalf of the town, for maximum amount of another grant from Saratoga County. County Board of Supervisors last week approved the applications. They actually, because there wasn't enough money there, they had scaled them back to 3/4 of the ask, but the full board passed a resolution that said the extra money would come from the open space fund that the county has. And so all the towns that applied are going to get the maximum. It's a $10,000 grant, just like the one we received last year for $10,000. It's a matching grant, so the town will have to match with in-kind services and similar things. So this grant that I applied for is to be utilized for the multi-use trail that we planned and budgeted for last year and this year again, 2021 again, starting off of Nolan Road, which will begin to meander its way up towards the closed landfill. I've been talking with BOCES, and they will actually get it started here in the next week or so. They're not going to be able to get a lot done down there because students get pulled back at Thanksgiving, and they're still working for us over at the rec, where they've done an incredible job. I don't know if anybody's been down there the past week or so. They've done a phenomenal job, and the Post started a nice story today on that, where they've got 72 students that are cycling in and out there during the day. And you know, as I said, you know, we can't thank them enough for them partnering with the town of Monroe, because we couldn't have gotten this project to where we have at this point in time. So kudos to BOCES, good news from Saratoga County, and we're happy to spend any additional funding that they want to send our way.
Keep it going.
Next item I have under Recreation Department is if you recall, the town's been working with the Palmerton Range Trail Project, which includes constructing a trail between essentially from linking Saratoga Springs all the way up through Monroe State Park and eventually through the Palmerton Range. Town of Monroe is playing a major role in partnering with them to provide access to some of our property. They've recently received a $500,000 grant for design of that trail system. And Robert Mittengale, I put him on as the town's liaison, and he's done a great job keeping me informed and representing the town and our interests there. And so I received actually had a conversation with him yesterday as they begin to move forward with that. And it was brought to his attention that the town-owned parcel at the gate at the end of Potter Road, which the Highway Department currently uses, would be a key parcel that this project would like to have access to. And what that would mean is, you know, they would come in and design trails to include use of that parcel that the town owns. And without it, there would not be a public access way to the former, to Brookfield parcel down on the river. We know that we're trying to open up access to the Hudson River. That'd be an ideal way for our residents and those coming from outside the area that want to take advantage of our recreational trails to get down toward the Horseshoe Dam, etc. So what he would like is to be able to tell this group that the town board would support using that property as part of the recreation project. You know, and I can talk with Paul about what we need to do to use other town property for, you know, some of that dumping that he does, stumps and things like that. Storage.
Raw materials.
Yeah, raw materials.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I've actually got a couple of boys who went to Illinois, and they'd like to access the road that way. And I think it's a good thing, but the concern is that you've got a gate right there.
Right.
But then the other thought that I had, and I don't know where it's gonna lie, but security issue for like Isn't that where the Saratoga County draws their water from down the end of this area?
Yeah, their intake is in that part of the river down there, but there's already a portage if you go off of, this is development, mountain, right up against the mountain there. If you go into that development, there's a dedicated right-of-way portage to get down to the river. So the public's already going down from that development, but this would just be part of a greater trails network. And I think it's a win-win all the way around. I had the opportunity to walk with representatives from the Open Space Institute and DEC about the property that, I think it was like 800 acres, that includes a lot of property down by the river off of Butler Road. And they very much want the town to be a partner in working with the state and the Open Space Institute to eventually have, there's opportunity for miles of trails in there. And this would tie in nicely with that. So, I think anything that gets us access to that river, gets us access to the Palmertown Range, gets us access to other communities from the town road, makes the town a draw. So, I think it's a great idea myself.
I do too. I just want to be on the record in an early conversation about this. As this gets further down the road, we have to be aware of people are coming in with cars, the parking in front of the houses down there. We saw what happened with the Enrondex this spring. If there's in Lake George area and the trails, if there's any, now's the time where it seems where folks are refinding the outdoors, and the way traffic and cars have really ruined a good thing. We would have to work on ensuring the neighborhood down there is not overrun with just cars and cars and cars and cars. Whatever, as we go through with our code, whatever it might be, but I don't want to leave people out to dry on that. And I think that can be taken care of as we get closer, but I want to be on record to just know that that's a concern early.
Yeah, and it's a very good point, and I will add that, I think that we can work with the county to get us additional areas for parking if we need to. We've already done that when the county had stockpiled, the overburden from some of the county projects on the roads over there. And they actually came in and leveled out the parking lot so you could bring in horse trailers. I think it's right off of Redmond Road, if I'm not mistaken. So I think there's lots of opportunity to partner with the county to address that issue.
Great.
Is the existing gate our gate, or is it gated by the county?
That should be our gate, I believe that. Okay. I have to check with Paul on that.
So we'd like to know more, but
So, and I do have a little bit more in the email. Just for the record, an RFP went out for the master plan design, and the Penn Group is the leading engineering firm. Their task is to develop a series of passive trails for both hiking, mountain biking, snowshoeing, equestrian adapted trails on the 43,000 acres plus. This will be a corridor from Saratoga Springs to the town of Moreau and includes lands in multiple state parks, Saratoga County forest parcels, Skidmore land, and multiple private landowners. And they go on to say that the town parcel has huge potential for bird sanctuary, wildlife, hiking trails, snowshoeing, and mountain biking. And they're hopeful that we'd be supportive of that. So it doesn't require any action on our part. I'll reach out to them and know that the board thinks it's a good idea. I'll talk with highway superintendent to make sure that his needs are met as well. Okay. And the last item I have under recreation department is the board recalls, we asked, I think it was during our budget workshops, we asked the rec leader to reach out when we learned that the Heston tractor, that the front end loader that the rec department uses, had a serious structural failure on the lower portion of it. And for new board members, the Heston tractor has already had a long and useful life in the highway department before Rec got it. So it was pretty worn down anyway, but we were glad to have it because we didn't have anything over there. So I think we had budgeted in this year's budget. Yeah, there's a picture of it. What had happened for the public's benefit, they were moving dirt with it, and the front end loader frame on each side of the cab that have what they call towers, that the frame bolts onto the underbelly of the tractor. And I was down there today looking at it. I'll tell you why a little bit later in the conversation. And there was a crack in the frame where the towers bolt to the underbelly of the tractor. And so what happened was when they went to lift up dirt, a bucket load of dirt, and that frame gave way, shifted the whole frame of the loader to the side, it came crashing down at the front hood of the Heston. So it did some pretty good damage on it, most of it cosmetic. But one of the things I noticed looking at it today is that you can tell that work had been done on the other side where there's preventative welding that was done. So there must have been a stress fracture in there in previous days. So unfortunately, it wasn't caught on this one. And so, you know, we have the money in the budget for this year to move forward. We did not put it in next year's budget. I put together some specs for that for a tractor, which I thought would not only meet our current needs, but be versatile and meet future needs. And so based on the specs I put out, our rec leader was able to secure 4 quotes. And just for the record, the specs on that went out was, town was looking for a 70 horsepower tractor, minimum 62 horsepower at the drawbar, with an 8x8 synchromesh transmission, with a Ford reverse shuttle, had to be mechanical 4-wheel drive, category 1 and 2 on the 3-point hitch in the back, which gives you access to more heavy duty equipment to get into category 2 range, yet allows category 1 equipment that currently fits the Kubota down there to be able to be used on it. 84-inch bucket, and the requirement was that it be either a new tractor or a used tractor with no more than 200 hours on it, but still covered by a new tractor warranty. So with those specs, we received 3 quotes. One is locally here from Emmerich Sales and Service on Route 9. They had spec the tractor at $35,929.68. Salem Farm Supply had a quote for these are all new tractors, for a $37,276 tractor and 12 cents. United Ag Turf, which I believe is a John Deere, they had a quote of $40,337.87. And Capital Tractor had a quote of $29,300. And we also reached out to Falls Farm and Garden. We did not hear back, so we have 4 quotes to work with. Now, Capital Tractor came up today. Their salesman wanted to deliver in person to Pete what their proposal was. And meeting Pete, Pete took them over to take a look at the tractor to see if there's any value in that for possible trade. And Capital Tractor actually indicated that they would be willing to offer some money for a trade on that. And they said it would be $1,700 that they would credit to that quote of $29,300. So the lowest quote with that reduction is $27,600. And all 4 quotes included a tractor that had ballast in the back, the tires were filled. And all 3 of the quotes had a block heater, which in this climate you need for diesel tractors, especially if they're gonna be stored outdoors. The only one that did not have the block heater included in the quote was Emmerich Sales, but they said they could do that for an additional $75. So I don't know what the board's pleasure is. I think that from a financial standpoint, it would be good to make this purchase out of the 2020 adopted budget, which will help us for next year's budget. Plus, I don't think we end up budgeting money for it, right? So we don't have money in next year's budget for it. So I didn't know what the board's feeling is on that. Entertaining any comments, questions?
From a planning and strategy and trying to get out of this year's budget, I'm a fan of that. You know, that was the direction we gave it. I had one question, it doesn't look like we have a balance available in the account, so how will we?
So it would require a interfund transfer within the rec department.
That said, then, you know, I'll rely on your knowledge and others on the board that might have more knowledge. I don't have enough knowledge about tractors, but if you're comfortable with that, meeting the specs and that brand, I'll trust others on that.
So just for further discussion, I will, for the record, note that this would be paid from account A7140.2, which has a current balance of $3,229.85. So before we can move forward with it, we'd have to do a transfer of funds from I don't have to tell you exactly where the transfer is. So it comes from it'd be transferred to account A7140.2 from A7310.1, which is youth programs, beach, personal services. Now, if the board recalls, we didn't open our beach this year. The payroll down there is approximately $42,000. So we could use some of that money to offset the purchase for the 2020 fiscal year. It's still in our budget.
So would we be transferring the full 27.6 or just?
So we would have to transfer,
Minus the 30.
correct. So, I mean, any thoughts on doing that?
Well, the thing is, you know, I know he put in his proposed budget for $20,000 for a tractor. I spoke with him briefly afterwards because we're going from $20,000 to $30,000. And I asked him why the 20. He said, well, that's the size tractor that's practical for him to do the work that he has to do now. He says this type of tractor is probably more than he needs now. The smaller one, he would be able to hook up eventually lawnmower to, a trench dozer to, which would be more practical for what they would be using it for. And I walked away after speaking to him that maybe bigger isn't better, you know, and we're going to spend $10,000 for a piece of machinery that really doesn't fit his need. And that's my only concern at this point. Spend $10,000 for something that he might not be able to put the attendance on and do the job that has to be done.
And yeah, so he brought those concerns to me. I think it was this morning. We chatted about it. He had indicated that you know, he was talking with some of the staff down there, and I can tell you that the staff has a tractor in mind. I can tell you that that for what that tractor can do, it's very expensive compared to what this tractor can do. He was concerned about using, you know, equipment. He wanted to buy a tractor where he could buy a snowblower for it, so he could blow off the skating rink. And I said to him, I said, I don't think it's a good use of personnel to spend several hours on a small tractor with a snowblower when for a little bit more money, you can get a tractor that's a whole lot more versatile and has a 7-foot blade and can scrape a ice skating rink in no time at all, doing 7 foot at a pass, push it up and out and over the rink, And then that personnel that was operating the tractor can go do something else at a time that was safe.
My only concern is that if you put that's the equipment that they use.
Yeah, so the other thing is, by having it spec'd for a category 1 or category 2 3-point hitch, it opens up the number of implements, types of implements that it can add, like a backhoe. You couldn't put a backhoe on there without a subframe, which is more money with a category 1. However, if you have a tractor that has capacity for category 2 implements, you can get a backhoe 3-point hitch, and you don't need the subframe, which means it's easier to hook up, a lot faster. I can tell you that the lowest price tractor has the skid steer quick attach on the front end loader, which means that can attach to any implement that fits on a skid steer loader. Gravels, for brush, things like that. Forks, you can interchange forks by pulling 2 buttons, but without even using equipment. So I think the versatility there, and in the end, he thought, after we spoke, he thought it was a good idea to go this route.
That's all right, the versatility and
Yeah.
be able to use the equipment.
Yeah, so.
For the jobs that gets it done. No, I understand.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we're getting to the stage, we're talking about adding to our recreational land resources. It's gonna require, more larger size equipment to get to where you gotta go to do that maintenance. And if you recall, we have not done a lot of equipment upgrade down there to the level it should be in many years. And I think what this does is, it starts putting us on that road to having the necessary equipment to do all the things that our residents are looking for. So that's why I think it's
That makes sense.
And he wrote this today, looks like,
Yes.
and it says, I'll go with his recommendation at this point as well.
Okay?
Yeah,
Okay?
yes.
So, okay, before we do that, then we would have to do the budget transfer before we authorize the purchase. And
24,370.15.
371, budget
24,370.15.
that one, 15.
Sorry.
And Jeff, will that,
My only question to that is, does that zero out their account and is there anything that might be outstanding that we need to have?
we can do more. I mean, the money's there. That's probably a question. Would you prefer that we don't zero out that account?
I would, just because this is a purchase that was not foreseen.
Okay, so why don't we,
Transfer the amount of the tractor.
yeah, why don't we do that? Everybody okay with that? All right, so then I would entertain a motion that, $27,600 be transferred to account A 7140.2, which is playgrounds, recreation equipment. And that come from account A 7310.1, which is youth programs, beach, personal services.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, motion carried unanimously. So now that the money's there, the board would like to move forward. I would entertain a motion to purchase the spec tractor as provided by Capital Tractor Incorporated out of Greenwich, New York, in an amount not to exceed $27,600.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously, and for the record, as a result of that transfer, this will be paid from account A 7140.2, which after the purchase will still have $3,229.85. All right. Anything else in the record? Oh, here's a thing that wants to see what it looks like. Oh, yeah. A little part, our viewing audience. Sales tax. So, as we put our budget together, we looked very carefully at sales tax because much of the budget for the town of Monroe is predicated on how well we do with sales tax. In the end, the budget that we're presenting to the public is estimating sales tax and this is based on information from the county as well, which will put our sales tax, our anticipated sales tax for 2021 at 2011 figures, which I think was, well, I shouldn't say because I have the number in front of me, but it was dramatically, actually I can tell you, back in 2011, that year we received $2.549 million in sales tax. Last year, we had received just under $3.3 million. And this year, we're going to be dramatically lower than that. So historically, we have sent some of our excess sales tax back to the county. One year we were as high as 800,000. Back in 2011, when we had less sales tax, we only set 200,000 in the county, but we knew that there's no reason not to expect that we're going to get it. Unfortunately, this year we don't know. There's no guarantee we're going to get that additional sales tax. So the town has to give the county an answer as they prepare their budget. We have to decide tonight in order to meet the deadline on what we want to send as sales to the county. If anything, during budget discussions, I thought, I was hopeful that maybe we could do around 200,000. But as I'm seeing the numbers here and how much there's a deficit for this year, and I've heard that the county occupational tax, which is a bellwether for how many people are coming into our area, spending money, is year to date down 76%. So, the people aren't coming like they used to. I think everybody, experts, county treasurer, are saying that our sales tax revenue is definitely not going to be where we have been. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. So my recommendation, and this will be for discussion tonight, is that because we don't have a good probability that we're going to have extra sales tax, that we don't commit to sending additional sales tax to the county. Because if we do, and it doesn't come in, we have to take that out of fund balance, and that kind of really defeats the purpose of what we're using that excess sales tax for. So the other thing I would add for the new board members is that we're the only town in Saratoga County that has been doing that. So we're the last holdout. So with that, I'll open it up for thoughts, discussion on what we should or shouldn't do, but we do need to decide tonight.
I would support your thought on not sending this year.
I had an in-depth conversation with our in-house fiscal expert and kind of feel that we should not be sending anybody this year.
Supported.
Yeah, circumstances being what they are, I can see that.
All right, well, I think that, that gives us some breathing room, what may or may. So that doesn't require action on the part of the board, because I will just tell them that we're not sending. Had we wanted to send money to the county, it would require a resolution. So that works for you, Counselor?
Yes, it does.
All right, ready. All right. That was bad news for Saratoga County, and no, they would like to get all the money back they can. Now they got a big fund balance. Supervisor items, I only have a few. Just want to make the public and board members aware that I have the final application for the Champlain Hudson Power Express with maps. If anybody wants to take a look at it, it'll be available in my office where the route will be. I don't believe it requires any further action on our part. We've already taken we've done the resolution that they needed. For the record, the case number with I think it's Public Service Commission.
Yes.
Is 10-T-1039. So I was approached, we have a lot of interest in our industrial park, which is fantastic news. I know Council Member Noonan has received inquiries as well. So we've gotten to the point where there are entities that want to buy some of our lots. However, they want to know how much those lots are. So I just want to make the board aware that these are companies from other counties that want to come in our industrial park, mostly because principals in the company were born and raised in Town Monroe, and they want to bring their company back here, which is awesome with their employees. So what do we have to do? Do we need appraisals? How do we establish the sales price for those?
You should probably get appraisals done, at least restricted appraisals. Now, 3 column appraisals done, make them really intense. You'll have to declare the property surplus that you're not going to use it anymore if you own it, and then you can go out and, as long as you all agree on a fair, reasonable price, you can go out and sell.
Well, do we have to declare them surplus if they were constructed for the purpose of industrial growth?
There's a way you can do it without declaring surplus. You can just say you don't intend on using them for, you're selling them because you don't intend on using them for town purposes, but you don't have to actually officially declare.
Okay, all right. So maybe we can work on moving that forward. I presume everybody's okay with selling lots if it's the right person.
$199,000.
How much? 199? Actually, you could almost get there was what they're looking at. All right, so I'll work with town attorney on that. I received a call from the Saratoga County, New York State Department of Transportation resident engineer to make us aware that the town of Monroe will be utilized as a pilot program for the use of a salt or a brine mixture on key sections of some of our highways. They include 3 sections. First is from Route 32 to Route 97. The next is from all of Route 197 from Route 9 into Fort Edward, both sides. And the third one is Route 9 up to South Glens Falls. So they'll be doing, you'll see signage out for that this winter. And they're basically looking to compare whether the brine solution they use works better than granulated salt. The whole goal of the program is to minimize the sodium footprint, or I should say the salt footprint that they use, better for the environment, et cetera. So,
Did they say what it is, like magnesium chloride?
they did not, they didn't give me the specifics. I think they're going to be sending me that information when I get it. I'll pass it on so you can have that expert knowledge.
Sure. I just know they do it in a lot of other parts of the country out west where they get the snow, they dump magnesium chloride on the roads.
Yeah.
And then with that, it's not solved.
Well, I can tell you, having traveled the Northway daily for almost 3 decades, I was not happy when I switched over to Browning because it's a nightmare on your windshield at night with the blur. I'd much rather have it granulated. That's my own personal.
That's part all around performance.
Exactly. That's all I have for supervisor items. Any committee reports?
Personnel committee.
Oh.
Councilman Benoit and myself have completed half of the final applicants that we had felt met the criteria of the job description, and invites are out to the other half for another session this Wednesday night. Still two that haven't responded, but we'll be done with our first round.
Okay,
Make
so
some recommendations to the board and yourself, and we should bring it for Tyler.
excellent. And I narrowed it down to 5 too. Some of them overlap. I had them in for initial interviews, and they went very well. Very good group of people that applied. We did not set any meetings, but I can tell you my office really wants that spot filled as soon as possible. With the board, when we narrow it down with the board, all like to then collectively at the same time interview the final pool, or do you want to meet independently? If we do it together, we have to set a board meeting. If you want to interview them on your own time or in groups of 2, you can do that. I know that if we could have a recommendation for the first meeting in November, my staff probably won't quit before then.
I think we can meet that. I would like to share another thought to get your position on it. I believe Councilman Moon and I are on the same page. I know, and I believe that Kyle is saying that at the end of the day, it's our decision as a board, majority. But do you have any reservation about some of the final candidates meeting with other people they would interact with? My thought with Jeffrey and Lisa, there might be a chance for them to sit down and interview.
No, I think
Maybe spend a couple minutes with them.
I think it's vitally important because this is a civil service classified position. And that person has the potential to be here long after we've come and gone. And everybody in that most everybody in that office will have to work with them. So I think that's very important.
We'd like to take that as a part of the step, not to slow it down. But, this role that we've described and people we're interviewing for possibly being a shared resource across departments. I think it's critically important with this particular applicant that there's a good mix, a good fit.
That's good.
But yeah, we'll work toward being ready. But to this question about whether or not we want to do it as a group or not, I guess that's really up to the other board members.
Is there a preference from the board?
I would want to know if Councilmember Downey or Hogan want to be involved or not.
I'm okay with my recommendations.
I'm not opposed to it, but again, for timeliness.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we narrow it down, everybody, if there's anybody who wasn't interviewed and a board member wants a person who applied to be interviewed, make sure you get that to the personnel committee. And once we get that list, we'll circulate it with board members. If you want to meet one-on-one with them, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too.
Right.
And then we can move on from there.
I think that's, all right. Just let me know within the timeline, I think that we want.
Good, excellent. Any other committee reports?
Code enforcement. Are we doing there?
So,
Any takers, any bites,
so there is not. So, and the list has expired from the county. I believe it's expired. Did you get a copy of the list?
No.
So I will double check with the county. If there is not a current list, then we can do a job posting. We can start our own interviews and go from there. So I'll verify whether that list has expired or not. And report back to the board. And what the board wants to do, if I find out that list has expired. Would you want to do a post for?
Yeah, right away.
Where we post our?
No, I mean, I could go to our website and get it out on social media, and I would put it up on ZipRecruiter, and then we could also, if you
Want
wanted
a resolution to do that posting?
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we do a board's agreement, of a resolution that should the Saratoga County civil service list for a part-time code enforcement officer be expired, that we will authorize the clerk to do job posting as we typically do in the customary way.
motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, discussion.
I know that in the past, I think we paid about 25 an hour for that job, up to about 18 hours a week. Is that something we would try and stick with again? Just to,
So it's budgeted for, in the budget at $20 or $22?
$20.25.
$20.25 an hour. We could adjust that possibly in that budget if we had to a little bit. But it gets us in the ballpark for what we're paying part-time.
and roughly 18 hours, I think what we were looking at,
Right, part-time.
part-time 18 hours, okay. I push this job all the time. I push it all the time, and everyone, how much to pay, what, it's not, but it's
It's
no one wants
a
to be that
tough
guy.
nobody,
I'm considering giving up the seat to do it.
we'll make it full-time. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Anything else on the committee? Okay.
No.
Executive session. I don't think I need to do you?
I don't know.
Any other board member have anything for executive session?
I'm good,
No. Okay.
Any other business?
not at this time.
All right, motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining us.